a very, very important day for Wakefield Public Schools as well as for the Dolebeare. We'll be watching the progress of this new building as we move over the course of the year. This particular time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing, please, and I'd like to ask Reverend Stokel to say the invocation.
Please bow with me. God, we thank you for the occasion we're gathered here for today, the groundbreaking for the new Dolebeare School. At the same time, we want to stop and be thankful and grateful for all the fun and the learning that has gone on in this building over many, many years. And this means that there's going to be a lot of change. Next year, we're going to the Herd School. And that's going to be a little different and maybe a little scary. Maybe a little scary for staff and parents and teachers and children. And so we want to ask you for some help, God. We want to ask you for help that even though we might be a little nervous about change, that you would help us to have good attitudes. And we want to ask you, Lord, that you will help the men and the women who will be doing the construction to do a good job, so that this special place that's being prepared to come back to in September '99 will be completed and defined on time. And we want to especially thank you, God, for each and every person that makes Dolebeare such a special place. We thank you for the staff. We thank you for the teachers. We thank you for the parents. And especially we thank you for why all this is happening. The children that make this such a fine school. We pray this. Your name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Stokel. Please be seated, students. Representing the 4th grade, I'd like to have Brian Miller come forward with a welcome.
Welcome everyone to this groundbreaking ceremony. We look forward to this celebration. This occasion marks the beginning of a new Dolebeare school, but new or old, the Dolebeare will hold special memories for each of us. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Holmes, our Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Brian. I think you're well on the way to being a future superintendent of schools, one that can come and speak like that. Thank you very much. Thank you, friends of Wakefield children and Wakefield schools. Again, this is a most special day, not only for these young people, but for this community, as it searches out a quality of life befitting to all of us. It's especially great for all those young people in the Dolebeare and also, I'm sure, in the Montrose section of our town as well, as they look forward to a bright, new, shiny school. We sure do like new things, don't we? It's a great day in many ways because it symbolizes a commitment by this town to you, the kids, to do what is right and good for you, so that you have every opportunity, perhaps even greater opportunities than we have had. Hopefully the rest of this community will see this project as the symbol it is and want new schools just like we have for Dolebeare and Montrose section. It certainly will provide not only a new facility, but hopefully a bright new attitude. An attitude where everyone comes to that new school more dedicated than ever to learning. Certainly, a lot of that depends on you, the young people. For you see, a building is but a part of the educational progress. It takes a lot of good teaching, and thank you, teachers, for what you do. It takes a lot of effort of parents. And again, thank you parents for what you do. And it takes a lot of support and encouragement from everyone else that works with you. But you see, young people, kids, children, most of all, it takes you. It takes your hard work and dedication to wanting to learn, to make a difference, not only to yourselves, but to your family and to your community, and hopefully to your country. So kids, congratulations. This is a great day for you, and thank you, Wakefield.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Next, we will hear from Mr. Kilkelly, the chairman of the building committee.
Thank you, Brian. My job is to chair, to head up the committee in the town that is in charge of building this new school. I want to first thank the person who was the chairman of the committee before me. I don't think he could be with us today, but Michael Lamphere, who lives on Sweetser Street, was the chairman of the committee before me and did a great job from the beginning of the committee a year and a half ago up until last month when he had to stop being chairman. That's when I became the chairman. I also want to thank all of the children who've been so excited and willing to think about moving to the Hurd School for a year and then coming back to the new school. I want to thank all the teachers, the principals, and all the members of the school building committee for and everyone who's been involved in bringing this to fruition, especially all the people who've been involved in all of the task forces and committees up till now. I hope that everyone has a lot of fun next year at the Hurd School. It's a great school. We will be celebrating next year 100 years of the Hurd School. We'll be 100 years old next year, and I think we can all have fun celebrating that. And as we drive by and look at this school and the additions being built on here, I hope that all the children can look as it keeps growing and being added onto, and think of all the fun that you'll have when you come back into the new school building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kilkelly. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Christine Bridges, the chairperson of the Wakefield School Committee.
Thank you, Brian. Hello. I'm so glad to be here today to say hello to you from the school committee. Mr. Bodie from the school committee is standing over there. He's here today with me. And we're so delighted to be here for the groundbreaking of the new Dolebeare School. I was thinking last night that the last time we probably had a celebration like this was back around 1961 when the Doyle School was built. And I would think that probably your parents then were about the same age that you all are now when we built the Doyle School. And I'd like to say just one thing to you today. I'd like to say that history is not something that we read about in social studies books. History is something that's alive, and history is something that happens every single day. And today is a day when each of you has a part in history. Each of you, because of all the hard work and all the planning and all the things you've done to celebrate this day, each of you will always be a very special part of the history of the Dolebeare School. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say today about the history and the memories of Dolebeare. So thank you for inviting me, and let's hear from you now, or soon.
Thank you, Dr. Bridges. Now, finally, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Incarnaccio, the chairperson of the Board of Selectmen.
Good afternoon. As a chairman of the Board of Selectmen, it's an honor and a privilege for me to be here for this groundbreaking ceremony today. All of the citizens of Wakefield can take pride in what is happening here today. This ceremony marks the beginning of a project, the first of a series of long-range school facility improvement projects, which will provide modern, up-to-date, first-class teaching and learning facilities for the outstanding, and I should say first-class, boys and girls attending the Wakefield Public Schools. Each of you young boys and girls may be somewhat sad about leaving a beloved neighborhood school at the end of this year. I know you're looking forward to the summer and vacation time, but you're probably thinking about the fall, and I know how you feel. Because when I was a young first grader attending the Woodville School on the other side of town, the school was closed and I was moved to the Franklin School. And let me tell you and assure you, it was a lot of fun meeting new friends, new kids. The principal and the teachers were always there to help assist in everything that we were doing and the adjustment we had to make in a new school. I'm sure that your principal, Mrs. McGrath, your teachers, your parents, and the wonderful transition team that you have here will make your move to the Herd School next year a very smooth and pleasant experience. And then you can look forward to September 1999, when the students who are currently in kindergarten through grade 2 with the students from the Montrose School will return to the new Dolebeare School. I can say that I wish each of you young boys and girls the very best next year and the best throughout all your remaining years in the Wakefield Public Schools. The town is very proud of each of you, and we look forward as you move up and on in your school years in the Wakefield Public School System. Thank you for inviting me to your ceremony. Enjoy your day and this wonderful celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ignacio.
Thank you very much, Brian. Nice job. And thank you to all of our speakers who gave such wonderful remarks to our program today. At this particular time in the program, we'd like to share a little bit of the history and the memories of Dolebeare School as presented by some third graders, fourth graders, and Mr. Robert Dolebeare. First of all, let me call Kelsey McClellan, Teresa Hurton, Danielle Witkowski, Tia Folizzi, and Carolyn Conlon to the microphone.
We would like to begin our history of the Dolebeare School by taking you on a historical trip into the past. In 1884, the town's first brick school was built for a cost of $18,700. It was a Hamilton school and was located on Albion Street. The school had 2 large stoves, and the boys and girls carried wood and coal from their cellar to the stoves for their heat. At the turn of the century, the 5th brick schoolhouse, the Herd School, was constructed. In 1952, the Herd School, which by then had an addition, was overcrowded, forcing the town to build the Dolebeare School. It would appear the Dolebeare and Herd Schools have long been in a sistership. The land along Wall Street on which the Dolebeare was built was once known as the Beebe Farm. Much of the land is woodland and extended to Lake Quannapowitt, cows and horses gravestoning. The land along Vernon Street was used for blueberrying and picnics. This land was owned by DeVita's Incorporated. The school committee convinced Mr. DeVita to sell this land to the town for a much-needed school. The Dolebeare School was built in 1953 and named for the late Harris M. Dolebeare, a prominent citizen, owner, and publisher of the Wakefield Daily Item. It housed grades 1 through 6.
Paul Anthony was the school's first principal. Rose Doherty, the first grade teacher. Iris Huey, the second grade teacher. Margaret Hickey, the third grade teacher. Mary Healy, the fourth grade teacher. Marie Catalina, fifth grade, and John Penny, sixth grade.
In 1957, only 4 years after its opening, it was necessary to add an additional 4 classrooms for a cost of $73,127. In 1964, Cyrus M. Dolebeare was a surprise guest at the Dolebeare PTA meeting and presented the school with an oil painting of who his father was named.
In 1995, the Dolebeare School welcomed 3 teachers from the Herd School and all of its students, forming a K-4 two-track community. On June 26, 1998, the Dolebeare will close its doors for renovation and expansion. The new Dolebeare School will hopefully reopen in September 1999 with the Dolebeare staff and students returning from the Herd School. The Montrose School will be joining them in the new Dolebeare community.
We hope you enjoyed this historical trip from the past to present our Dolebeare School.
We, the Dolebeare students, have worked on many different activities throughout the year. We've seen drawings and models of our new school. We've actually talked with and had our questions answered in a meeting with one of the architects. Some of us have even designed our own school. We sang at our concert about our theme, Moving On. We will sing some of our favorite songs today. Lastly, there will be a memory book to help us remember all the events of this year. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Robert Dolebeare, publisher of the Daily Item. Our school is named after his grandfather, Harris M. Dolebeare.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of the Dolebeare family, it's a pleasure and honor for me to represent the family here this afternoon at the groundbreaking ceremonies and the start of a new building here in Wakefield. I do want to correct one thing. I've been retired for a year, and the current publisher is my son, Glenn Dolebeare, right over there, and I'm enjoying my retirement very much. Thank you. Right. I don't know how many of you know the history of Harris Dolebeare, but Harris Dolebeare was an orphan. He lost his mother after a week, when he was a week old, and his father died within the year. And he went from orphanage to orphanage, and he bounced around in Dorchester. Finally, about the age of 15, a woman by the name of Mercy Parker moved from Vermont to Boston. And as my grandfather said, she took pity on him. And so she brought him to Wakefield. And I am sure happy that she brought him to Wakefield. And they lived right over here at the corner of Lowell Street and Vernon Street. But Harris graduated from Wakefield High School in 1888, worked 12 years for the Citizen Banner, another newspaper here in town in the early days, and married Emma Skinner. Mr. Skinner was very prominent in town, and he said to Harris, Harris, you've got to do something in your life now. And he helped him along with Harris. They purchased the Daily Item. It was a 6-sold Daily Item. And for 38 years after that, he was the publisher and a very, very active man in the community. His longtime editor, Gardner Campbell, some of the old timers do remembered him. If he was distinguished for any one thing, it was his intense patriotism. This patriotism and civic mindedness manifested into many hours of public service over a period of 50 years. Although he never thought public office, he served on more municipal and public committees than almost anyone in the history of the town. Among them, the town's 250th anniversary celebration, treasurer of the Red Cross, Sweets Electric Committee, shadow member of the Wakefield Rotary Club, moderator of the First Congregational Church, terms as director of the Savings Bank, Cooperative Bank, and Trust Company, and many, many other worthy causes. He even He even jumped into the picture in the California earthquake, forming a committee and raising funds for that, and also for the Great Ohio Flood. He was always willing to give of his time for others. A dream which was never realized was to build a Wakefield hospital. He wanted a Wakefield hospital. They purchased land at Bear Hill, but his untimely death, the hospital just sort of died and disappeared. One of the biggest undertakings was the role of chairman of the committee charged with building the Beebe Memorial Library. And in 1923, the Beebe Memorial Library was realized, and it took a lot of work, not only on Harris's part as chairman, but many other people in Wakefield. And now they have just renovated that library, and you know what a beautiful library it is. I just want to say this about Harris Dolebeare. I do remember some little things about him. I know when he put the addition on the daily item in 1935, he had every member of the family, his grandchildren, place a brick, because it meant so much to him that he was so fortunate to be able to put it, not only own the paper, but also to afford addition. And we each put a brick on the building, and I know exactly where the one I put on the building itself. I gotta tell you one thing that my grandfather, he and Emma were wonderful, wonderful parents. I have 10 grandchildren. At Christmas time, the whole family gathered at 13 Chester Street. We all sat around to have Christmas, and it took about 3 hours or so, because each grandchild took a present and gave it to the individual whose name was on it. That individual opened it, they passed it around for about 5 minutes or so, then they took another one. So this took quite a while because it was a large family. I know a few years ago at 195 Salem Street, like I say, I have 10 grandchildren. I think Christmas was over in 10 or 15 minutes, the way they went through the gifts. So I don't know how you young ladies and boys go through young Christmas, but that was my grandfather and my grandmother. Harris was a loving father, husband, and grandfather. He was a very generous man and immensely dedicated to the betterment of the Wakefield community. A man who never forgot where he came from. He remains a role model and hero to our family. We will always be deeply honored by the action taken by the town of Wakefield in 1953, naming the Northward School the Harris M. Dolebeare School. I would like to thank each and every one of you for inviting me here today, and I'd like to introduce my wife, Lorraine. I'd like to congratulate the building committee, the school committee, and all the town officials who took part in this. I would be remiss if I did not mention the name of Attorney Bill Scully. I sat in Bill's office before I moved to Florida last fall, and he said, "Bob, make sure you're at the dedication." I said, "Bill, you know I will be there." But he, like Harris Dolebeare, was dedicated to the Wakefield community and the betterment of the school system especially. He believed in education. For after all, you boys and girls here today are the future of the town of Wakefield and this great country that we have. Thank you again very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mr. Dolebeare.
Testing.
All right. We would like to present a few songs that we performed at our spring concert. Kindergarten students will perform the Dolebeare Cheer. Grade 1 will sing On the Right Track.
Thank you.
Grade 2 presents Bye Bye Dolebeare.
Pack up every reading book as we leave one last look. Bye, bye. stop the flow. So to the future. To the future. To the future. We must go. Thank you for listening to us. You've been a very attentive audience, and we've had fun performing to you.
Christine? Christine?
So the transition committee came up with the idea of time capsules, one per each grade. The students, with the assistance of the teachers, recorded their memoirs of Dolebeare, and now they're encapsulated in our time capsules. I want to thank the third and fourth graders for assisting the kindergartners with recording their memoirs. I also would like to thank Bill Tracy for constructing our time capsules for us. And now, students can come forward who have been assigned to help bury the time capsules. Pre-dug, and the kids are going to place the time capsules in the holes.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending today, and I'd like to thank especially our Dolebeare students who are working on this program, along with their teachers, along with the music teachers. Once again, thank you. We look forward to the dedication of our new Dolebeare in September of 1999, and we hope to see you all.
Okay. Have to kind of hold it up until they're going to drop it in the hole. You're grabbing the shovel, are you?
I think you can hold it up.
Okay.
All right, hold it up like you're ready to put it in the hole, guys.
Bring the shovel over here. That's right, so we can see it. Atta boy. Okay, here you go. Whenever you're ready, you going to do it? I'll wait till you. I'm going to go do it.
Great, my name is Jessica. Some of the things I wrote down is tests. I remember some tests that I had. I remember friends. Mommy, I saw Patrick. Some music groups. Third grade.
Tell your name and your age and your memories of Dolebeare School. We're on sale Saturday. So, would you be willing to watch this film now?
We still have tape. I live on 51 Street and 9. Caroline. Kindergarten. Maureen.
guests, our parents, our members of our Dolebeare community, members of the Montrose School that are here, fellow administrators, speakers who you'll hear from very shortly, and also our fourth grade students that we've asked to come back and do a little mini concert for you. This particular time I'd like to invite Reverend John Stokel to the podium to offer an invocation.
Please bow with me. God, we're thankful for the occasion on which we're gathered to celebrate the groundbreaking for the new Dolebeare School. And at the same time, we want to recognize all of the good things that have happened in this building, all of the fun and the learning that have happened over many, many years. We're thinking of this new thing, and new things bring change. And Lord, sometimes change brings scariness and fear. And so we know that you care about us, and we want to ask you to help us with a couple of these things. So we're going to ask you, Lord, we're going to ask you to help us with having a good attitude with change. Because change brings fear, and fear brings sometimes negative and critical attitudes. So help us to have a positive attitude as we change and go to the Herd School. And we want to pray also for the workers, the men and the women that will actually construct the building. And we pray that you help them do a good job so that when we come back in 1999 in September, that it'll be all ready to be filled with this community. We want to pray especially for those people that make the Dolebeare such a special school community. We want to pray for the parents, the teachers, the staff, and especially those students which are the focus of this whole endeavor, and they make Dolebeare such a really special place. We want to pray and commit all these people into your hands, and we thank you for all of the efforts that have gone into this. We pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. This time I'd like Michelle Ellis to come forward, as well as the fourth grade class, classes to sing our opening program.
Fourth graders would like to perform Moving On Up.
Thank you very much, and you'll be entertained by the fourth grade a little bit further on in the ceremony. I'd like to call Julie Ovshovsky. Julie, to give a welcome on behalf of the students and to introduce our speakers.
Welcome everyone to this groundbreaking ceremony. We've looked forward to this celebration. This occasion marks the beginning of a new Dolebeare school. But new or old, the Dolebeare will hold special memories for each of us. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Holmes, our Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Julie. As I said earlier today, when we met with the young people to celebrate at 2 o'clock, that this truly is a great day for Wakefield kids, and certainly also a great day for Wakefield in general. It's also a great day for your school superintendent. The hours, days, nights, meetings, when they all culminate in a success like this, certainly are very rewarding, and I'm grateful for this point in time and the commitment that you've made to improve your schools in Wakefield. I'd also like to thank today several other people. Most specifically, I need to think of those people who 5 years ago spent all those hours in meetings thinking about a long-range plan for the school community. To John Incarnasio for his leadership for that plan, who recognized at that point that one of the greatest needs of the school department was to improve its school facilities in the years ahead. I certainly need to pause for a moment and thank Bill Scully. Bill, a tireless worker for this community, one committed to the quality of life of this community, one committed to the schools and the young people of this community. Again, Bill had tremendous vision, and I'm sure the events of today have a big smile on his face as he looks down with us. Thinking back to the opening of the renovated library, the BD Library, I remember the comments of Congressman Markey. Those comments were especially meaningful to me because he's talked about the commitment in this country hundreds of years ago to the system of public, free, and open libraries, and how that would be the great equalizer so that rich and poor would have opportunity to books and to knowledge. Well, it was about that same time that this country made an equal commitment to a quality public school system. One open and free to everyone. Equal access. Equal access to a young boy like myself who grew up on the Maine coast. A father who never made $12,000 a year in his life. And yet I could be a superintendent of schools someday. It was a great equalizer for me, and it will be for many other people. Well, this community has moved forward. It's moved forward to create a public school system that will bring honor to these young people, to give them the kind of opportunities that they deserve, such as you and I had. It will give them, every child, without race or class or distinction or finance or color, it will give them the kind of opportunity that they deserve. So this is a great day for Wakefield, groundbreaking that symbolizes your commitment to your children. And believe me, we need to make a commitment to our children, for it will be not so long when we will be depending on them in our old age. So, young people, take care of us. Do well, work hard in school, and certainly work beyond just a pretty new building, but work hard with your teachers to do the kinds of things that will make all of us proud of you. So thank you, Wakefield. You've done well. Give yourself some applause.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Next, we will hear from Mr. Kilkelly, the chairman of the building committee.
Thank you. On behalf of the School Building Committee, I'd like to thank all of you for coming to this ceremony in which we commemorate the groundbreaking for the addition and renovation of the Dolebeare School. Mr. Holmes has already given a thank you to and a recognition of the work that Bill Scully did, really getting this going. I'd like to continue that with a thank you to Michael Lamphere, who I saw somewhere here in the audience, who was the chairperson of the school building committee as we moved through the design and the approvals for this project. He has passed the banner on to me to see about getting this building constructed, and I'm happy to follow in his footsteps. All the members of the school building committee have worked well together, and we really are proud to get it to this point in time. We have been given the responsibility by the town moderator and the town meeting to follow through on the mandate of the town meeting, and we're proud to do that. I want to thank all of the people who have worked through the last 5 years on all the committees, all the surveys, all the forums. Many of you have been invited today, and I see in attendance, and all of your work has come to fruition today. I want to thank the people from the architectural firm of HMFH who have worked very hard with us to get to this point where we were proud last month to award the contract to the general contractor PJ Stella. Many of its representatives are here today, a local Wakefield firm that will be building the school. We had a meeting on Tuesday where all of the contractors and subcontractors met, and I certainly was impressed with their commitment to building a fine school for the children of Wakefield. This town has really committed now to start investing again in its capital buildings so that we can provide for the children the environment in which they can learn. And I just hope that as we get started here, that we can remain committed to that long range of 20 to 25 years that it will take to finish out what we are really culminating the beginning of today. We really need to follow through on that and not get sidetracked with other things. So again, welcome, and I hope that as we look over the next 14 months at the building going up, that we can all come back in August or September of next year and have a celebration, hopefully to rival some of the celebration that the library did just recently, and really have a fine school building for the children and students to be in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kilkelly. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Christine Bridges, Chair of the School Committee.
It seems as though today is turning out to be, as it should, a day of thanking and acknowledging the many people who have brought us to this point. And the remarks that I'm going to make echo some of the sentiments that have been expressed, as I too would like to give thanks to some people. Being chairperson of the school committee brings a great many privileges. And perhaps one of the greatest privileges is being able to stand here today at the groundbreaking for the new Dolebeare School and bring you greetings from the school committee and say some words to mark the occasion. But I must truly say to you that the privilege of standing in this spot today doesn't belong to me, but really belongs to Bill Scully. And both Michael and Terry have mentioned Bill. Earlier today at the 2 o'clock ceremony that the children did so beautifully, Bob Dolebeare mentioned Bill. And I think that it's probably because we cannot be at the groundbreaking of a new school and moving forward finally in a school building plan without thinking about Bill, because he was really the spirit and the soul and the driving force and the heart behind this school building initiative. I was thinking last night of what Bill might say if he were here today. And you knew Bill. You know that undoubtedly he would say something gracious and memorable. And I think that he would say first and foremost, though, his thanks and give credit to others for the hard work that others put into this project and minimize his own hard work and involvement. So I would like to take just a moment to do that, as I'm sure Bill would, to thank everyone, I hope, who's had a part in this. Certainly the members of the Long Range Planning Committee, who were perhaps the first to take up the cry for new school facilities, to the many members of the several school facilities study committees and school facilities survey committees, and sometimes it became difficult to keep straight all the different surveying study committees. To the members of the Wakefield School Department administration and the school department staff, whose untiring work behind the scenes facilitated the work of all those committees and survey teams. To school committee members past and present, Bill Chetwynd is here as one of our past members who had so much involvement in this project. To the members, the volunteer members of the Support Our Schools effort, who worked so hard to get a referendum passed and then moved on to continuously work hard to when we had to regroup and plan a new approach. To the members of the Finance Committee, Phil McCarty and his committee, who worked so hard to get the numbers to line up and the numbers to work for us to go forward with this project. To the Capital Outlay Committee, and to our colleagues on our other town boards and committees who have given us their support. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank the community of Wakefield for its support, but most of all, I would like to thank the School Building Committee. Michael Lamphere, who when Bill had to relinquish that chairmanship, took it up without missing a beat and brought that committee through a transition phase and on to the planning for this building. To Winona Manley, the vice chair, who I know is here somewhere, who accepted the challenge enthusiastically and exuberantly of working to be part of the solution. To Michael Kilkelly, who has spent thousands of hours in volunteer efforts preparing to move into this leadership position as the new chair of the School Building Committee. And to Margaret Gilligan, to Ann Snyder. I saw David Rice here with his child. To Fred Razzaboni, to Jimmy Good, to Frank LaRosa. Have I missed anyone, members of the committee? To Susan Majeski, the clerk for that committee, who also puts in untold hours behind the scenes. I'd like to thank all of you, and any I may have missed, for bringing us to this day. And I have a challenge for all of us as we break ground today for the new Dolebeare School. I hope that we'll continue to work as hard in the future as we have worked in the past to bring to reality now Bill's vision for schools in Wakefield. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bridges. Now I would like to introduce Mr. John Encarnacio, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Reverend Stokel, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Bridges, Mr. Kilkelly, Senator Tissay, Representative Cresta, members of the School Building Committee, teachers, parents, other invited dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As chairman of the Wakefield Board of Selectmen, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here for this groundbreaking ceremony. Before I make my comments, I would like to call to the podium Mr. Tim Sweeney, a product of the Wakefield Public School System, who is now serving as a congressional aide to Congressman Ed Markey for a presentation of a commemorative flag from the Congressman. This flag has flown over the White House, I believe, or the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol, and this was for the Dolebeare School. Having served on the school committee for 21 years, I experienced the thrill of being a participant in a couple of school building projects. One of the projects was the building of the Atwell School, which is now part of the Galvin Middle School. The other project was the renovation and expansion of the former junior high school for conversion to what is now the present Memorial High School. Both of these projects were critically needed to provide classroom space and up-to-date facilities for teaching and learning. Many years have passed since the town committed to major capital expenditures for building construction. Despite numerous studies which clearly identified the need for improving and updating our school facilities, the town was reluctant to move ahead with a school building program because of fiscal constraints and a long continuing debate on how such a major capital improvement program should be funded. Wakefield delayed action to prepare our schools for the 21st century. The debate and lack of action ended November 1995 at a special town meeting when a building committee and funding was authorized for implementation for the first buildings of a 20 to 25 year long range school facilities master plan. This building and the follow-on, the Woodville School. This groundbreaking marks the beginning of the actual work which will show the fruits of the hard work, dedication, and tenacity of many people involved with the effort to improve schools in Wakefield. The numerous study committees, the Town Capital Outlay Committee, the Finance Committee, the School Committee, other town boards and departments, the school superintendent, and all school administrators and teachers, and the school building committee, plus the numerous people, as Dr. Bridges mentioned, that were involved in and supported this effort. All can take pride in this special occasion. To the members of the School Building Committee, congratulations on achieving this milestone. I know you have worked long and hard hours to get to this point. Good luck and best wishes to each of you, to the architect, the general contractor, and everyone else involved in the work that lies ahead. The town looks forward to the ribbon cutting ceremony in September 1999. Thank you for inviting me here, and again, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ignacio. Next, I would like to introduce Senator Richard Tassay.
Thank you very much. Let me just say it is an honor to be here and bring you the greetings of the Commonwealth as we have some sad memories, obviously some changes taking place in this school, but also very happy memories that this whole school construction project is kicked off and is going to start to really roll. I've been going to an awful lot of these ceremonies throughout my district. The city of Malden's building 5 new schools, the city of Melrose, the town of Reading, the town of Stoneham, and it is really encouraging to see, with so much emphasis being placed on education reform, that on the local level these schools are, which is a very important component, are being completed. I also want to just echo what's been said, I think, by every speaker, and really congratulate all the people on the school committee, the school building committee and all the townspeople who have been involved, who have really shown really a dedication, leadership, and most important, a commitment to have the very best school system possible here in the town of Wakefield. All I can say is on the state level, we have worked very hard to do two things. First, to ensure that the level of reimbursement that the town is going to receive, not only for this school, but for school building projects in the future, is constant. Everybody knows what it's going to be, and we can plan around that. Number two, both Representative Crester and myself have worked very hard to ensure that more money is available today for school building construction throughout the state than at any time before in the state's history. And in fact, we just finished our budget process on the state level in the Senate a couple of days ago and in the House about a month ago. And in the Senate version, we allocated $33 million to build new schools in the Commonwealth, which means that with that money, more than 51 schools are going to be built across the Commonwealth with those funds. And for a town like Wakefield that's just coming online with its school building program, that is very good news because it means we're going to get through that waiting list faster than ever before. And not only for the new Dolebeare school, but also for the other schools that are be coming online. So it is indeed a pleasure to be here to share with all of you in this ceremony, and again, to also commit that we're going to keep on doing whatever we can at the state level to make sure that the money is there, not only for this school, but for the other schools that need to be built to really bring this local school system up to par so we have the very best schools from which our children can be educated in. So thank you very much for the invitation to be here.
Thank you, Senators, to say. Next, I would like to introduce Representative Brian Cresta.
Thank you very much. To echo the comments of the Senator and those speakers before me, it's a pleasure for me to be here today to take a part in the groundbreaking of the expansion of the Dolebeare School. Although the Dolebeare School was not the grammar school that I attended in Wakefield, this kickoff today really starts the process of the entire construction project in Wakefield. And I know in a few years we'll be doing something very similar at the Woodville School, which was my grammar school that I attended in Wakefield. So I can understand for those that have a lot of memories of the Dolebeare School, and for those that will have future memories in the Dolebeare School, what an important day this is. On the state level, we have done a lot for education over the last few years through continuing our commitment on education reform of an over $2 billion investment in our schools, non-buildings. We've added to that a continuing commitment of our funding for the actual buildings. And as the Senator said, the House and Senate has completed their budget process. It's going to be in the conference committee as we speak. We're hoping that the level is going to be continued to be increased as it has. I know we talked about a $33 million item in the Senate budget. I would just add to that that money goes to a pot of over $500 million that is now out there paying for school construction across the Commonwealth. So I know that commitment, combined with the commitments of the cities and towns, and combined with the commitment of the taxpayers in Wakefield, will make not only the Dolebeare School, but each and every school in Wakefield a really shining example of what we can do when as a community we work together. And I think the last thing that I would like to add to this is to the namesake of this school, Harris Dolebeare, the Dolebeare family. I know they've done a lot for this community over the years, and I think it's fitting that this first project in Wakefield that's going to begin a 25-year project starts with the Dolebeare School, and I know will continue throughout all of our systems. So thank you very much for the invitation and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Cresta.
Thank you, Julie, for a very, very nice announcement of all of our speakers. And thank you to all of our invited speakers today. This particular time, our 3rd and 4th grade students would like to share with you a history and some memories that they have of the Dolebeare School. And I'd like to invite them to come forward at this time.
We would like to begin our history of the Dolebeare School by taking you on a historical trip into the past.
In 1884, the town's first brick school was built for a cost of $18,700. It was the Hamilton School and was located on Albion Street. The school had 2 large stoves, and the boys and girls carried the wood and coal from the cellar to the stoves for their heat.
At the turn of the century, the 5th brick schoolhouse, the Herd School, was constructed. In 1952, the Herd School, which by then had an addition, was overcrowded, forcing the town to build the Dolebeare School. It would appear the Dolebeare and Herd schools have long been in a sistership.
The land along Lowell Street on which the Dolebeare was built was once known as the BB Farm. Much of the land was woodland and extended to Lake Quannapowitt. Cows and horses grazed on it. The land along Vernon Street was used for blueberrying and picnics. The land was owned by DeVitas Incorporated. The school committee convinced Mr. DeVita to sell this land to the town for a much-needed school.
The Dolebeare School was built in 1953 and named for the late Harris M. Dolebeare, a prominent citizen, owner and publisher of the Wakefield Daily Item. It housed grades 1 through 6. Paul Anthony was the school's first principal. Rose Doherty, the first grade teacher. Iris Huey, the second grade teacher. Margaret Hickey, the third grade teacher, who is here with us today. Mary Healy, the 4th grade teacher, Marie Padalina, 5th grade, and John Penny, 6th grade.
In 1957, only 4 years after its opening, it was necessary to add an additional 4 classrooms for a cost of $73,127. In 1964, Cyrus M. Dolebeare was a surprise guest at the Dolebeare PTA meeting and presented the school with a framed oil painting of his father, for whom the school was named.
In 1995, the Dolebeare School welcomed 3 teachers from the Herd School and all of its students, forming a K-4 two-track community. On June 26, 1998, the Dolebeare School will close its doors for renovation and expansion. The new Dolebeare School will hopefully reopen in September 1999 with the Dolebeare staff and students returning from the Herd School. The Montrose School will be joining them in the new Dolebeare community.
We hope you enjoyed this historical trip from the past to the present about our Dolebeare School.
We, the Dolebeare students, have looked at many activities throughout this school year. We've seen many drawings and models of our new school. We even talked with and had some of our questions answered during a meeting with one of the architects. Some of us even designed our own school. We sang in a concert about our theme, Moving On, and we will sing some of our favorite songs today. Lastly, we will have a memory book to help us remember all of the events throughout this school year. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Robert Dolebeare, publisher of the Wakefield Daily Item. Our school was named after his grandfather, Harris Dolebeare.
Thank you very much. Superintendent Holmes, dignitaries, school committee, building committee, town school officials, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. I know I spoke here this afternoon, and it was a pleasure to come back here, and it's a distinct honor to represent the Dolebeare family at this special groundbreaking ceremony. And what I'd like to do is, I have several members of the Dolebeare family. If they don't rise, please, over here, who are in attendance today. I was only 8 years old when Grandpa D, as we used to call him, passed away. I do have a few memories of him. I remember he used to take all the grandchildren and the children at the item when he put an addition on in 1935, and we placed a brick on the building. And to this day, I know exactly where that brick is. Something I told the children this afternoon about Grandpa D. At Christmas time, we all gathered at 13 Chestnut Street, the whole family, for Christmas and dinner. Started, everyone sat around, one present at a time. It opened, it was passed around, and it lasted maybe 3 hours or 4 hours. A few years ago, my family, 10 grandchildren, gathered at 195 Salem Street, and I had to apologize to my grandfather because I think the Christmas was over in 10 or 15 minutes. I just grabbed it. But those are the few memories I do have of him. Many of you do know that my grandfather was an orphan. His mother died a week after he was born, and his father died within a year. He was bounced around from orphanage to orphanage. And when he was 15 years old, a woman by the name of Mercy Parker moved from Vermont to Boston, and she struck up a acquaintance with him. And she took, as he says in a little note, she took pity on him. And she brought him to Wakefield, where she was going to take care of a family member by the name of Moses Parker. They lived right here on the corner of Vernon and Lowell Street. And to this day, I think the family is very, very thankful that Harris Dolebeare decided to come to Wakefield. Following his graduation in 1888 from Wakefield High School, he worked for 11 years for the Citizen Banner, a newspaper that was a weekly newspaper here in town. He married Emma Skinner, and his father-in-law, after they were married, said to him, "Harris, what are you going to do with your life?" And he loved journalism, and apparently at the time, the family that owned the Daily Item, they just decided to sell it. So along with the help of his father-in-law, Thomas Skinner, he purchased the Wakefield Daily Item, and for 38 years following, he was the publisher of the item. He had 4 children. My dad, Richard, my aunt, Harriet, his family is here, Harriet Curtis. He had a son, Robert, that passed away when he was 4 years old. His only living son, Cyrus Dolebeare, who some of you know. I know Bill Chetwin asked me about him. He's 98, he'll be 98 years old on August 9th. He would love to be here today, but he is confined to a wheelchair. But let me tell you, his mind is keen, and he's a walking history book of Wakefield. He knows more than I think any of us. He is a student of the history of Wakefield. Gardner Campbell, the longtime editor of the Wakefield Item, described Harris Dolebeare. If he was distinguished for any one thing, it was his intense patriotism. This patriotism and civic mindedness manifested into many years of public service over a period of 50 years. He never sought public office, but he served on more municipal and public committees than almost anyone in the history of the town. Among them, the town's 250th anniversary celebration, treasurer of the Red Cross Suites Election Committee, charter member of the Wakefield Rotary Club, moderator of the First Congregational Church, terms as director of the Savings Bank, Cooperative Bank, and the Trust Company, and many, many other worthy causes. And during these times, the great earthquake took place in California. Who was there to organize a fundraiser but Harris? And the great Ohio floods, Harris was there to organize the fundraiser. One of the biggest undertakings that he took and had a dream of doing was building a public library. He chairmaned that committee, and they worked long and hard, and in 1923 the Lucius Beebe Library was dedicated, and you know that now you have a brand new library in the town of Wakefield. It's just a beautiful building. And those are the offshoots of the Lucius Beebe Library in 1923. A dream that he didn't realize was his dream of having a hospital in Wakefield. They purchased land at Bear Hill, but his untimely death and then following the hospital was never fulfilled. Harris Dolebeare was a loving father, husband, and grandfather. He was a very generous man, immensely dedicated to the betterment of the Wakefield community. A man who never forgot where he came from. He remains a role model and hero to our family. He will always be deeply honored by the we will always be deeply honored by the action taken by the town of Wakefield in 1953, naming the Northward School the Harris M. Dolebeare School. The gentleman's name that's been mentioned before, that of Attorney Bill Scully. I sat in Bill Scully's office last fall before we moved to Florida, and as you know, Bill was ill. He told me, Bob, I want you to be there at the groundbreaking. And I said, Bill, what it takes, I will be there. And Bill deserves an awful lot of credit. I compare Bill to Harris. He was dedicated to the town, he was dedicated to the youth of Wakefield, and he wanted to do the best for the community he could. Again, it is a deep appreciation that the Dolebeare family, his name is carried on, and we are so honored to be here today to take part in this groundbreaking ceremony. For through these school classrooms, the doors, will come the future of Wakefield and the future of this great country. I want to thank everyone for being here, and it's a great pleasure for me to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, third and fourth grade students, as well as Mr. Dolebeare for giving us a bit of the history and memories of the Dolebeare School. Before we have our conclusion and the groundbreaking ceremony itself, I'd like to call forward the fourth graders who will entertain you with another song from their concert. So please come forward and join Mrs. Andrus. While they're setting up, before the conclusion and before the groundbreaking, I'd like to cordially invite our guests to join the very fine PTO representatives at the front of the building for refreshments before you go home. And also the Dolebeare students and their families to stay on for our transition team sponsored family picnic out in the back of the building. Michelle?
The fourth graders would also like to perform Calming Algiers. to us sing. You've been a very attentive audience, and we've had fun performing for you.
Last but not least, we will now have our ceremonial breaking of the ground. I'd ask if the Senator and Representative and Dr. Bridges, Mr. Holmes, and if we could have a representative from HMFH and from PJ Stella. We'll meet over here by the tree where the shovels are. And we'll move a little bit of the ground around and our ceremonial groundbreaking. Thank you.
Don't get hurt.
Chairman Incarnaccio, if you could join us, please, and then representative of the Dolebeare family.
Take the labels off the shovel. Hold it up. Gotta put the foot on it. Here you go. Right here, come on, gang. Here we go. Here's looking at you, fellas. Everybody right here one more time. Keep it there. Here we go. What do you want? One more time. Wait, please, everybody. Here it is. Here we go. Again, one more. Harry back this way. Christine back this way just a little bit. Here we go. Coming to you guys again. Here it is. Here we go.